By the time we reach 60 and above, we all have a past. Things have happened. We've traveled different roads. We've met different people and had many different experiences. My guest today is Dr. Stephen Paul Edwards, and he is an international speaker and author and spiritual counselor based in Florida today. He is the author of The Venus Flytrap, a raw memoir exploring power, obsession, vulnerability, and reinvention. And Dr. Edwards draws us on his own journey from high-pressure business success, heartbreak, and identity collapse, and guides others towards a self-awareness, authenticity, and alignment of the mind, body, and spirit. Today, he helps individuals break those destructive patterns, rebuild self-worth, and live with clarity and purpose. You are really going to want to hear this conversation today. Make sure you stay tuned for this episode of Relax, I Got This, Embracing Life After 60. In today's world, older adults face major transitions like downsizing, relocating, or modifying their homes to age in place, all while embracing life after these changes. As a senior home advisor and seasoned realtor, Robin McCoy guides these decisions with care and thoughtful planning, helping create a vibrant future. Welcome to Relax, I Got This, Embracing Life After 60 with me, your host, Robin McCoy. Dr. Edwards, thank you so much for being on the show today. I'm very excited to have this conversation with you.
I am too. Thanks for having me on, Robin. Yeah, and just in the couple of minutes we've been talking, I'm even more excited now. So I think we'll have a good time. We both have a good sense of humor. And I'm sure we're going to share some things that are going to have an immediate and positive impact in people's lives, as all your shows do, right?
Yeah. Well, that is the goal, right? So tell us a little bit about how you got, to where you are. Tell us a little bit about how you got here and how you got your, just the vocation that you're in now, the book you wrote, all those sorts of things. How does all that come together?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm just,
just showed up and it's like, wow, look at all this stuff, right?
Like it just happened, right? I was just following what was in front of me. And to a large extent, that's true, which is not really something to, brag about. I mean, I can't honestly say that my life has been a strategic success, right? So, quick Reader's Digest version, grew up in the UK, obviously. As you said, I'm not from around here. Originally, anyway, and I'm from Blackpool in England, for anybody who knows that. And I say to people, that's a good place to be from. So, I had a traumatic childhood, and I used to think I was the only one. And now you talk to me and they go, me too, right? Everybody, but you don't know that as a kid, right? You just think, you're the only one going through it. But we don't go, it's not like we go to school as kids and at the break, get in the playground, get our friends together and go, damn, man, I'm getting some trauma. You getting trauma at home too?
Yeah, right.
So we think we're the only one. And some people might say mine was worse, but you can't grade it like that. When you're a kid, it's freaking trauma, right? So, I felt like it was this is important because it helps understand why I had this experience, right? And some of the other experiences in my life. So I felt like I was in a straitjacket. I couldn't speak. I didn't have a voice. There was a lot of gaslighting going on and control issues. And some of the things I can remember, like, all the other kids are getting an ice cream. And one of my parents would say, you don't want ice cream, do you? What are you going to say? Yeah, I want an ice cream. You can't, right? It shuts you down. So all that emotion, anger, really, rage was pushed down,
Yeah.
So when I went to bed at night, I used to have to bang my head on the pillow until I was exhausted to get to sleep. If I didn't do that, I just couldn't sleep. So that was healthy, obviously. And when I was 16, I got admitted to, and I call it an insane asylum, right? Because it kind of, exaggerates the situation. But it was a mental health institution, right?
Right.
And, they said, what happened? I said, well, I've been banging my head. Is that I didn't say that. Right? I get institutionalized a little bit. And so came out of that situation. And I got humiliated as a kid, at school for a variety of reasons. One was because my mother used to send me to school in school clothes that were just way too big for me, right? I had an overcoat, a Parker overcoat that would still fit me to this day. I swear to God, it would still.
Oh my goodness.
I'm going to school. My shorts came down to my knee, all this stuff, right? So I was humiliated for that, and not just by the other kids who were merciless, but also the teachers didn't know any better back then, right?
Yeah, they weren't helpful either, right?
And then I was the boy in the showers that got ridiculed for having a small, right? So and of course when that happens, all the other guys pile on because they go, "Thank God it's not me," right?
Yeah, right.
So that goes around the school. So all these things, which now don't sound so bad, but back then it was terrible for me.
Sure.
So, and then I went through, because I didn't feel like my parents loved me, right? So I had to find family elsewhere, which often happens, right? And usually that's going to happen in gangs, but there weren't any gangs in England. So I had to just find some really bad people and hang out with them, right?
Okay.
The only people who would accept me, right? Having a small in big clothes doesn't go down very well. But the silver line, one of the things that we're probably going to get to is not when I was a child, because as a child, you are a victim, right? You have no power. There's nothing you can do, right? It's happening, and it's happening to you. But the belief I adopted, a little later in life was that nothing happens to you, everything happens for you. Now, even those things that happened to me as a child, I eventually understood why they happened for me. Now, you're not going to get that as a kid. You're not supposed to get that as a kid.
And you don't have enough experience in life to get it as a kid to understand it.
Right? And so I was a victim for most of my life, right? I got involved on the wrong side of the street, got in some serious trouble. But for some reason, I came to America when I was 21, and I got off the airplane at LAX, and I went, I want to live here, right? This is where right?
This is better.
This is way better. The sun is shining in the daytime. How is that even possible, right? All the time in England. So anyway, so then I set about making that happen. And whatever I've done in my life, I've been successful. And I'm going to explain why. It's not because I'm some superhero, right? So when I was a kid, all I wanted to do was run away from home, to get away from that environment, right? And because I felt so shut down, I would get overwhelmed. I'd just be overwhelmed. And whenever I felt overwhelmed, because I didn't think I had any power and my voice wouldn't make a difference, I just ran away. And I ran away from home 8 times.
Wow.
But that became a pattern, right? So I left home at 16. I had my own house at 17, right? The reason being is I had to be so intense and so focused so I didn't have to go back. Right? And I didn't want to look back, Robin. I didn't want to look back at the pain, which is, you got to do if you want to get past it, right? You got to
right.
And then go through it a little bit. So I wasn't prepared to do that. So I was running away, and that stayed with me most of my life, right? So like I've been through 4 marriages, right? When I wrote the book. People would say, "What is wrong with all these women?" I'd say, "Let me help you out a little bit, right?" 4 marriages, one constant.
I was going to say, what's the common denominator in all of those?
Right? So, so what was the problem, right? And it was me, right? And how was it me? Because, relationships are not easy, right? And you're going to have disputes and things are not going to go well at times. And after a few years, I would feel overwhelmed. And when you're overwhelmed, you think the situation is permanent and can never be resolved.
Sure.
So what would I do? I'd run away.
Yeah.
I didn't
because that always worked. It always worked in the past.
There you go, right? And so I didn't realize that at the time.
Sure.
And I had a girlfriend and said, "You're a runner, aren't you?" And I went, "What do you mean?"
You're a runner.
You always run away. And I go, "Really?" And you know what? You're so blinded. You don't see that,
Yeah.
Like transparent beliefs that follow you around. You don't even know you have them, but they're controlling the events and circumstances and results in your life. And so that was happening for me. So when I finally got to the point where I said, okay, I got to stop looking outward and I got to start looking inward, things changed radically, and that belief, as silly as it sounds, that things don't happen to you, they happen for you, is a very powerful thing. Once you really believe it and you look for the silver lining. And it doesn't always happen, and very often it doesn't happen right away. It can be weeks or months or years down the road when you really get it. But if you're committed to that, you can never be a victim again. And if
Wow, that's powerful right there.
yeah,
You know, when you can say you will never be a victim again.
yeah, it's huge, right?
That's huge.
It
That's
really
that's
is.
just like, you know, it's like the world suddenly opens up, right?
Right, yeah. And then you see the people who you believed did something to you in a different way. You can start to accept that they are a spirit having a human experience, not a human having a spiritual experience. And at some level, they're doing this for you, and they chose to do it for you before they came down here. And now you look at them in a very different way. Doesn't mean that what they did was right. It doesn't mean
Right.
you gotta go give them a pat on the back.
You don't need to go thank them for
No.
humiliating you and abusing and and all of that.
But inside you go, wow, had they not done that, I wouldn't have had the understanding about myself that I currently have. And then people
Right.
say, well, what does it mean? Well, to be honest, it means whatever you want it to mean, right? You know, we give everything a meaning. But if you can give it a meaning that they gave me a gift, it doesn't mean you're going to marry them. It doesn't mean you're going to stay with
Yeah.
them. It doesn't mean any of those things. It just means there's a lesson, an opportunity for you to grow and expand as who you are. And, you know, I have a belief that, you know, we're going through all these experiences in our lives so we can remember who we really are. And, you know, I heard someone say something the other day that struggle doesn't define you, it refines you.
I agree with that 100%.
Yeah.
We don't know what we're capable of until we get uncomfortable in a situation,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Until whether it's something that we're facing, a past trauma, or a fear of moving forward into something,
Yeah.
we don't know what we're capable of. Are we capable of getting past that? We don't know until we actually, like you said, we've got to look at it. We've got to be willing to acknowledge it and accept where that put us today, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Or what are we afraid of stepping forward? What are we capable of? Are we capable of excelling in our career? Are we capable of finding a loving relationship? Are we capable of these things?
Yeah.
But we don't know until we get uncomfortable in the situation.
So true. And you just helped me. You just gave me an aha moment there. Powerful aha moment. You know, I don't know, I've never done a survey, so I don't know if it's most people, whatever it is, right? And I hate to generalize, which is, you know, a good thing to say before you generalize, right? I think a lot of people are afraid of stepping forward. So
I think so too.
why wasn't I? Because I've been a risk taker all my life. And so what I just figured out is that, you know, when I left home, it was a risk. But the fear of staying was greater than moving forward, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So that's always pushed me. And from having these experiences, I now look at it the same way. It's kind of weird, right? I go, well, you know, I'm going to have an experience, and if it doesn't work out, I'll fix it. I'll find a way through it because I've had enough experiences to know that. So that's a powerful understanding of my behavior because I go, always taking risks, right? And they don't always work out, right? Sometimes you get a hard falls, right?
And sometimes that's okay as long as it doesn't kill you.
Yeah, you know, and you learn something anyway, right? You probably learn a lot, more so than when everything goes right, you know?
Right, because you're like, of course it did, because everything's always working out for me.
Yeah. So the other thing I wanted to just pick up on again, you know, when I said I'm usually successful, I mean, it depends on how you find success, right?
Sure.
But I mean, I got my house when I was 17. I had a jewelry store when I was 21, and then I had a sporting goods store. But notice everything is changing, right? So I would build it up, and I would get burned out, Robin, because I'd be so intense. I'd be working so hard at it. I wouldn't do anything else, right? Morning, and you can't keep that up. You can.
Yeah.
So yes, I would create success, but then it would implode because I'd get burned out. And then
And you weren't enjoying the success. You were just doing the thing to get away from something.
Yeah, to get away from
right?
something.
To prove you're not who people said you were, to prove that you didn't need to be, like you said, in the insane asylum, that I don't need that. Look at what I can do. Look what I can build. Look what I can be.
Yeah, I probably did need to be in the insane asylum. But anyway, So yeah, so I was running away, and I was also running into things that could be a distraction. So again, I didn't have to look at myself or my
Sure.
life or those things. So it became a way to feel safe, right? And being something
Sure.
that I could control, because when I was a kid, I was controlled. I had, I was like I was in a straitjacket, which I ended up
Sure.
in. But the point is, you know, that was the driving force, not because, I was strategically wanted to be successful, because it never felt successful.
Right.
Because inside, I didn't feel worthy, right? I didn't feel I was worthy of it. So even when, people would say, oh, you've been so successful, I go, really? You know, I didn't feel it because I just felt I was protecting myself, right?
Right.
And so I, build a business, it'd go great, and then I'm like, yeah, no, that's not it. And then I have to reinvent myself, which again, it's a double-edged sword, right? Or double-edged sword, double-sided coin, whatever the phrase is.
Yeah. It's both, I think.
Because it helped me to survive,
Yeah.
kind of thrive for a little while, but then implode. And so you're going through this cycle. So, from my childhood experience and also hitting rock bottom many times through, my the lifestyle that I lived as a young man, and then having businesses, succeed and then fail, it gives you an empathy that you otherwise, if everything just goes great for you, you don't have that because you can't
Yeah.
understand other people's circumstances, right?
Downsizing doesn't have to feel like a loss. It can feel like freedom. I'm Robin McCoy, and every month I host a free webinar called The Gentle Transition, Downsizing with Peace, Purpose, and Dignity. Whether you're planning your own move or helping a parent through one, this webinar walks you through the process in a way that's calm, human, and full of hope. Registration is free. Just click the link in the show notes, and I'll see you there.
So, and then empathy leads to compassion, right? Which is, my understanding of compassion from the Buddha, right, is it doesn't mean you see two people fighting. There's a victim and a villain, right?
Right?
But being able to understand both.
Because they're both probably a victim, and they're both probably a little bit of the bully
They're both there. They're both taking
or the villain. Yeah.
they're both taking out their emotional trauma, acting it out, right? So when you can understand that, and you want to help the villain and the victim, right? So there's no need for it anymore, right? Because
Yeah.
we attract the people into our lives that we need. So we got to be careful we don't attract someone who's going to beat the crap out of us or talk.
Well,
And,
yeah.
yeah, and if it happens, then you've got to figure out what it means. Quick little story here to illustrate what I'm trying to say, because most people are going, "He's crazy," right? What is he talking about? There's two little boys. They're at home with their father, and they're watching a movie, right? And they're sitting on the floor, right, watching the movie, and the father was a drug dealer, right? So the father has put his stash and his gun under the cushion on the sofa that they're kind of sitting up against, right? And then suddenly the police burst in, right? Guns ablazing, right? Guns out. And the father decided to reach for his gun. Big mistake, obviously, right? So
Right.
they shot him to death in front of his sons, right? So the question is, well, what does that mean? And the answer is whatever meaning you give it. But the meaning
Yeah.
you give it, that one moment in your life, is going to change your life forever. So one of the boys decided that what that meant was that he was going to be a better drug dealer than his father. And he wasn't going to get caught. And he was going to beat the system, right?
Right.
Whereas the other son decided, I'm never going to get involved in drugs, right?
I'm not going to live that way.
You see,
Yeah.
what I mean? Two very
Yeah.
different paths. One was in and out of prison his whole life, fighting the system. And the other one, went to college, had a normal, whatever a normal life is. But you know what I mean? A different life.
Yeah. 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 A better path.
A better path, right? We would consider a better path, right? So one moment, two meanings, very
Yeah.
different ultimate experiences, right? So helping people understand that the meaning they've given things to make it traumatic and to stay with them is a choice.
Wow.
And then we can help look at that from a very different angle and a different understanding and have a very different life. Another example I use is like Michael Jackson, right? Outside of the sexual abuse and all that stuff. He was an angry boy. He was an angry man, right? Because of what he felt his father had done to him, right?
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
I'm not saying his father wasn't strict, and I'm not saying his father wasn't tough on him. And I'm not saying I would want to live through that any more than anybody else would. But at the end of the day, you can't change that.
Right.
And what he never fully got was that he wouldn't have been who he was had his father not made him practice, not be so disciplined with his art, right? Doesn't mean he has to tell his father, great job, right? But
Right.
silver lining and say, look, I've got all this adoration now. People love me now. I've got what I always wanted, instead of being so resentful and upset. So it can happen to anybody. You got the most successful singer and recording artist ever in history, I think, right? Pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much. He's at the top.
Right, yeah.
But yeah.
Being so unhappy. And then, for whatever reason and confused mindset, took the fact that he felt he never had a childhood and then abusing children, right? Because he never had that. So, yeah, meaning is really important. It's really key. And listen, I'm as guilty as anybody, if not more so. I gave everything the wrong meaning, right?
Yeah, yeah.
My father hated me, my mother didn't love me, and all these different things. When things that happened, they did happen, but I didn't have to give them that meaning, right?
And give it a life's worth of the weight.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You said something that I believe this, that every day you have a choice on how you are going to approach the day.
Yeah.
Happiness is a choice. Bitterness is a choice. Being a victim is a choice. Being a villain is a choice. These are choices
Yeah.
that we make. And now we interact with people in our lives that affect those choices or affect those meanings, whether it's our parents in our past, our spouse today, or our neighbor who, lets his dog crap in our yard. I don't know, but we have these conflicts, and it's how you choose to deal with it.
Yeah.
Do you choose to deal with it violence and go punch your neighbor in the nose or kick his dog? Or, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
Or are you going to try and have a conversation that says, listen, I don't mind your dog crapping in the yard, but can you pick it up?
Yeah.
Or have that conversation, and their choices on what you're going to put on anything
Yeah.
is what I think.
I agree with you 100%. I'll tell you a quick story here, which relates to the book, actually, because it's a story from the book about, how beliefs can change your perception in powerful ways, right? So I've talked about this belief that nothing happens to you, everything happens for you. So I'm in this relationship. I don't know if you've had a chance to read any of the book, but anyway, this relationship was insane, right? Because we're both crazy. She was in an asylum when she was 15 as well. Because we like crazy, right? Anyway,
Yeah.
so, and she came from a background where her father's a billionaire, right? And so she's a spoiled brat, right? But she's okay. She's okay with that. She knows that, and that's what it feels, right?
As long as you know it, and that's what,
She totally owned it, right?
there's no surprise, right?
Yeah. But because of that, she didn't have any respect for money. She didn't care about money because in her mind, her father put money before her, right? And he's very unemotional. He's a genius, right? But anyway, he's unemotional, and she needed that emotion from her father, right? And so she gave that the meaning that he didn't love her. And then he put her in an asylum, which just compounded that, right?
Well, I would say that would kind of put the...
But anyway, so she hated men, or she thought she did, right? And so she set out, because she's very smart. She got those intelligence genes from her father, right? She's very smart. So she was always out to prove to men that she was smarter than them. And she believed that men only wanted her for one thing, right? And she was going to control that and take them for everything they had. So that was her intention with me. I had no idea. She was the Venus flytrap and I was the fly, right?
Yeah.
She's
Yeah.
constantly just, making it away from the jaws. I mean, that changed eventually, but for a long time we were in this game. Anyway, at this point in the story, we were broken up again, right? It was also almost like we had addiction to breaking up so we could have makeup sex. You know what I mean? Whatever.
Yeah.
So she's gone somewhere. I don't know where. She's taken one of the cars and she's gone on a binge. And I had to leave to go on a speaking event, right? 4 days away, which is what I did almost every week. Okay, so I leave and I have no idea where she is, right? And she stays with me most of the time, but not all the time. But anyway, she comes back to the house at 1 o'clock in the morning when she knows I've left, right? And the house is locked up and the alarm's on, which I don't usually leave the alarm on, but for some reason I put the alarm on. So she breaks in and it sets the alarm off, right? So just around this time, there'd been some criminal activity in the neighborhood and the police were called to come out and they took forever to come out. Well, according to the director of the community, anyway. So she called the chief of police, right? And she chewed him out. You pay all these taxes, and you guys can't get out here, and all. And of course, he's not happy about that, right?
Because it's 1 o'clock in the morning.
Not at that point. I mean, this has been about a week earlier.
Okay.
It was up at 1 o'clock in the morning, and the police chief's going, "Okay, let me show you how hot and heavy we can come out, right? And how fast." So he sends 6 squad cars, 2 SUVs, and 4 police dogs. It's an alarm going off. I mean, is that? So all these, and then the lights are going on in the neighborhood, lighting the whole neighborhood up. He's making a point, right?
Yeah.
So she's sitting outside in the convertible, like the damsel in distress, right? Manipulating all these sheriffs are all hanging around the car, this beautiful woman. She makes the most of it. And so one of the officers calls me. I was probably on speed dial at this point, as you'll see. He calls me up and he goes, "She's here." I go, "Uh-huh." He goes, "She wants to get in the house." I said, "Under no circumstances let her in that house," because I knew she would wreak revenge, right?
Yes.
So I said, don't let her in the house. He goes, "Well, listen, I'll call you back." So he calls me back and he says, "I just spoke to the police chief," and he says, "We've got to let her in." What? Well, she's here all the time. You know what I mean? He goes, "You better let her in." Well, oh my God, no. So now 3 days, I'm worried about what's going to be left at the house when I get back, right? So I arrive at the house. Of course, she's nowhere to be seen, right? So I go in the house and I look around and it's like, everything's fine. I'm like, what? There's no way, right? Maybe over a new leaf, I don't know. So I go to the kitchen, I put the kettle on, right? And then I leave and come back and it's not boiling. So I go to the kettle and I flip the switch. It just doesn't turn on. So I look behind it and she snipped the cable to the kettle. Now, obviously, that's not the only thing she's done that to, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Around the house, she's cut the cables to every electrical appliance in the house. And she's done it in such a way you'd come in and you wouldn't even realize, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Not, right?
Now, we're not giving anybody out there ideas on what you need to do to wreak revenge on.
Very vengeful, right? So anyway, then I'm thinking, I know that's not it either, right?
Yeah.
So I told you about my experience with clothes when I was a kid, right? And so I had to get out of that pain of being ridiculed. And so I found a way to make some money. So again, silver lining, I had to get out there and make some money and buy my own clothes, my own school clothes. But clothes became very important to me, right? Mm-hmm. And so at this point, I'm living in a mansion, I'm making millions of dollars a year. So I had a wardrobe to die for, right? And she knew I loved that wardrobe of clothes, right? So I'm thinking, oh no, right? You got to be no way, right? So I go to the closet and I look in, everything looks fine. I'm like, thank God for that, right? And
gotta look closer.
And I pull the clothes back. She's shredded them all, right? She's cut lapels and pocket and all this stuff. I'm like, oh. Now, my point is, at that moment, Robin, I did not say, "Oh, well, that's fine. This has happened for me." Of course I didn't. I was so freaking angry.
You're furious.
I was furious, right? I mean, I said I didn't want to hurt her, but I did want to kill her. So, so I had to vent all that stuff, and I was angry, and I was resentful, and all that stuff. But because I was committed to that belief, eventually, not right away, but eventually, I kind of flop down in the armchair. There's definitely at least 24, if not 36 hours later. And I go, okay. So this happened for me, huh? This is going to explain how.
Okay, where is it? Where's the 4?
Exactly. But I'm talking like this to myself, as I often do, right? So, and it doesn't, the first thing you think of probably isn't going to be it, right? Because you still got some of that anger and frustration left, right? So the first thing that came to my mind was, well, it's only clothes. You can replace clothes. My brain goes, that's bullshit. Those were really nice clothes, right?
But it is cloth.
It's a start, right? It's a start, right? It's not going to get you to where you need to be. So finally, I got it because I was committed to finding it, and when you find it, the lesson when you find it, and it just popped into my brain. Attachment.
Attachment to things.
I was attached to those clothes. Now, there's nothing wrong with having nice clothes, but attachment means you feel like it's a part of you, that it's a part of your identity. And if you don't have them, then you're not going to be able to be who you are, right? And that's bullshit, right? So I got that out of it, and I went, wow. Again, she didn't do it to me, she did it for me. Had she not done that and taken away something that was that valuable in my head that I was attached to, I wouldn't have seen it. I wouldn't have seen it. So if I hadn't had the commitment to that belief, I would still be angry at her to this day. I'd still feel resentment to her for what happened there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you just said it yourself. If you have that, you're carrying it.
Yeah.
And it's eating away at you, not them. They don't even know.
No, because they don't. They're just like, yeah, I got him.
Yourself in the face. When are you going to stop?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then from there, it continued, Robin, because then I had to say to myself, wow, what else am I attached to that I haven't seen, that I haven't realized? And that sets you on another journey, right? So, and the other thing, that's part of that realization and that process that I went to is less is more. That having all these possessions, they possess you. They literally possess you because you've got to work really hard to get them.
Yep.
You got to work hard to keep them. And then you're going to get hard to get all the other things you're supposed to have, right?
Right.
It never ends. And so I realized, I say realize means saw with my real eyes, which are my feelings, that it's true. Less is more, because if you are constantly on the materialistic path, it'll never be enough. It can
no, because the next thing you get, then it's like, okay, well, now I've got this vehicle now. Oh, but they've got one of those. I need one of those.
Yeah.
And well, they live in this part of town. Oh, now I live in that. Oh, but now I got to go live over there.
Yeah.
Because mine doesn't have a gate. Well, now I've got a gate, but I don't have a guard.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And it's so. Let me ask you something. When you realize, let's just go back to that story, and you flopped in the chair, and you said, okay. How do you get to the point where you stop being, I guess, that it happened to me, and what do you go through to say, okay, I'm not going to be mad about that right now, but I want to figure out where's the lesson? Yeah. How do you go from that intense emotion of that anger and I'm just, oh my God, I can't believe she did this to me, to, all right, I am committed to this, because that's a leap.
That's a great question. It's a great question. So first of all, you don't right away. You are going to be upset, and you are going to be a victim, right?
Yeah.
And it's okay. What's important is you don't stay there. That you don't stay there. So, it's okay to feel sorry for yourself sometimes. It's okay to feel like someone did something to me.
Yeah.
But what I find is, by being committed to that belief, I don't stay there, and the time between me being furious and wanting to kill her, it gets less and less, right? Shorter and shorter, right? But I still get angry. I mean, sometimes I'm trying to do four things at a time and everything falls apart and I go, yeah.
Sure.
I'll yell out loud and then
That was happening today.
Yeah.
You know, this, I'm like, okay, this is going to be a day. I'm going to, I'm going to just stop.
Yeah.
And I'm not, because I was dropping things and, you know, this and that all before I got here at 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
And, you know, and you're like, okay.
Yeah, exactly. Just bring it back to the center. Yeah.
Yeah. We Are One Heart is a 501c3 nonprofit organization dedicated to bridging the gap between the needs and resources of low-income seniors and veterans. Rooted in compassion and love, our mission is to provide housing, living assistance, and access to critical resources that ensure dignity and support for the elderly in underserved communities. At the heart of We Are One Heart's work is the belief that every individual shares a common humanity, a heart connected through love and care. We are committed to creating a future that honors those who have shaped the past by offering programs and services that enhance their quality of life. For more information or to donate, visit wa1h.org. That's wa1h.org.
And a lot of people don't either think or know how to do that, right?
Right.
And they can stay there. And then they remember all that crap, right? You know, you bring it back up again and you're just recycling it, you know? So I think, you know, I would say I'm blessed because I followed this, you know, personal and spiritual development thing for years and years and years, which has given me some skills, right?
Yeah, yeah.
When I go through these things, it's easier for me to heal. And what I recognize is most people don't have those skills.
Because we never
learned.
We never sought them out or never learned them.
Yeah, exactly, right.
You know, you talk about the childhood you came out of. If you had been a different person, you might not have thought, okay, I'm not going back there. You know, if you just thought differently, like the two kids, right? Yeah. And you chose, all right, this is my lot in life, if you will.
Yeah.
Then your life would have ended up very differently.
Yeah, absolutely.
I know of a man in my industry who grew up in a very traumatic household, parents drug addicts, he tells a thing, they go to the food pantry where they didn't have labels on the cans, but if you shook it, it was a game. You know, you think it's fruit cocktail and then you open it up and it's asparagus. And, you know, you played that game.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
those asparagus was terrible.
Yeah, exactly. So that's, you know, and he goes, that was my childhood. He had a sister. It's almost like the two boys.
Yeah.
He decided that wasn't going to be his lot in life.
Yeah.
And his sister thought that was her destiny.
Yeah.
And, you know, grew up very, very with different mindsets coming out of the same environment. And so it goes back to just what you said, is deciding at some point, whatever this conflict was or this trauma was, does not have to carry on for the rest of my life.
Right. Yeah. And it's okay if it has carried on for a long time. You can still change.
Yeah.
You know, you can still change it. And I say, look, prevention is better than cure, right?
Right.
So people listen, you know, well, first of all, I say, look, you don't have a relationship problem. You have a pattern problem. And you haven't recognized those patterns that are creating that end result. You know,
right.
You know, people say to you all the time, I don't know, how is it possible? I keep going through the same thing over and over again. Well, how would it not be possible?
Because you're not changing the pattern and the behaviors.
Oh, yeah.
Why do I attract the same men all the time? Why am I always in the relationship with the same kind of woman all the time? Yeah. Or why do I always get the same job that I hate?
Yeah, right, exactly, yeah. Yeah, and there's
because
a
you're choosing it.
There's a reason you can change it. You can change patterns, you know, and it will change your life. And you can change what you believe about what happened, and that will change your life. And to me, you know, again, for the longest time, I'd made the story the wrong story, right? We all create a story, right? But
yeah.
It's going to have a powerful effect on your life. So, but what I've realized is, like, I've never had a relationship with my father until the last few years, right? But I changed how I saw him. I changed the meaning I gave to the things that he did, right? And that then, like a miracle, it just goes away.
That's
And it's like they just don't do that anymore because you have shifted. And so there's no reason for it anymore. Because
and it takes the power away.
totally, yeah.
It takes the power of whether it's his actions today or the actions he took 40 years ago, and how your response to it, it takes the power of that completely away.
Totally.
It holds no more power.
Totally away. And so when that happens, you let go of judgment.
How freeing is that?
Yeah, very. And also, you forgive. You can then understand where it came from. You know what I mean? And you look into those things and you become aware of it and you go, wow, you know, he was just acting out his trauma.
Doing the best he could,
The best
perhaps
he
with the tools he had at the time and the
Ex-
knowledge he had at the time.
Exactly. 100%.
So how do you there's a lot of people out there, we hear a lot about it now, about the estrangement and the detachment from, and the no contact with parents or grandparents and kids and all these things. What can someone do if they're in a situation like that? And I don't know if it's, they decided or somebody else decided for them there was going to be no contact. But how do we resolve some of these these difficult relationships years later? You just said it's been years since, that you just recently reestablished a relationship with your dad. Yeah. So who makes that first move and how do you do it? And if they don't respond the way you hope that they will or you want them to, what happens next?
I was going to make a joke. I'm not going to. It's not. So, well, here's the thing, and you said this right at the beginning, Robin. It takes two.
Yeah.
And if they're not ready, then you can change the way you feel about it. And then, when you're around them, they'll feel a different energy coming from you. And they'll recognize your acceptance and forgiveness, right? You will treat them differently, even if they keep treating you the same way when you've been in contention with them, right? The bottom line is you can't be attached to the outcome.
Man, I've learned that in so many levels over the last year, just whether in business and just that very sentence. Brad Stolberg's another author who writes, don't just detach from the outcome.
Yeah. And
that is so mind-blowing when you say,
it is.
I can't control the outcome. I can only control the process that I'm going through to try and achieve the outcome I hope for. But I can't control the outcome.
Yeah. And an example of that is, when we were I have a sister, right? So when we were being raised, my mother would triangulate, right? So she would say one thing to my sister, another thing to me, and it would cause us to be in contention, right? Conflict.
Sure.
So when I recognized that later in life, I could see my sister in a different way, and I could love her for who she is, not who I wanted her to be. Not love her because she loved me or she showed that to me. And little by slow, her attitude towards me has changed, done a 180, right? And I just, she needed love from me. She needed acceptance from me, right? She needed a male figure in her life that was going to love her for who she is, right? And so I knew that I just needed to be that and let her be, And she's, she still does things because she has a jealous streak, right? So that will come out, and it's okay. It's part of being human, right? She's going to be that, and I work hard on helping her not feel that way,
Right.
For example, she'll sometimes say, well, you've done this and you've done that, and I've never done anything like that. And I go, wait a minute. You've raised two beautiful daughters. What is possibly more important than that?
Right,
and
right.
Be more successful than that, So helping her see the greatness in herself.
Well, and you said at the beginning, too, you've had many successes depending on how you want to define success.
Exactly,
You
right?
know, there's always financial success, and then there's relationship success, and there's personal growth success.
Yeah.
And you know, I think it's important to really recognize, especially as we get older in life, just even like your sister, and you reflect back and say, well, I didn't have the success or the financial or business success or fame or whatever that may be of my brother.
Right.
And yet you can look at your life and say, but I did all right. I'm doing okay, you know, and be good with that.
And also letting you know that that's not success.
Yeah.
I felt that success, right? So what is the point? What was the point? Just distraction, running away, right? So
Yeah.
where you have stayed with your daughters, we've stayed there. You know, her husband left, went back to England, and she stayed with those girls through thick and thin, right?
Yeah.
And that's a life. That's built
And
memory.
that's huge. And you're building, I mean, raising human beings. How hard is that? Whew.
I think it's bordering on
I have a
impossible.
hard enough time with my dogs. I don't
You know what I
know.
mean? Yeah, I think it's bordering on impossible, right?
Yeah, yeah. I am envious of all my sisters. I never had, I mean, I inherited, I say I inherited my kids when they were 8 and 10, you know, my husband's kids. Love them to death.
Yeah.
And just, you know, but raising human beings to be good citizens
Yeah.
and to be good people and to be good human beings that are kind to others. That's a huge thing.
It really is, and I again, maybe I'm generalizing, but I think it's even harder today, Robin.
I believe
There's
that
all
for
these
sure.
dangerous things out there for kids that it's very difficult for a parent to manage. I mean, you know, obviously social media, right? And
Sure,
it can be
sure.
very cruel to kids, right? I mean, and you know, kids can be cruel, right?
Yeah, yeah,
You know, nobody liked my post today. You know, and then kids attach their value to that, right?
yeah, yeah.
Well, I'm not getting no one's DMing me, right, or whatever. It is, right?
Yeah, whatever it is. Yeah,
Or no one's
absolutely.
blocking you. I hope not. I don't- you know, so yeah, it's tough, you know, and
Yeah.
I don't know whether it's tougher for girls or boys, but we've got a really
It's
terrible.
tough all the way around, I think.
I think so too. Yeah, it really is, and a lot of kids who are not the kids that are going to be, you know, the best liked kid in the school get left to one side. They get forgotten about.
Yeah,
And which
they
is
do.
why, and we all know this, right? A lot of these kids eventually just kind of blow up, right?
yeah, they do. They do. Well, and I think, you know, that's why I think this is important that as adults, right, we figure out this and resolve these conflicts in whatever way that is, right? If it comes from a traumatic childhood, knowing that you can't change it, but I can change where I'm going and I can change it for my children,
Yeah.
and also teaching our children and our young adults some of these skills that you've learned over time, right? That the friends that are excluding you today are giving you power for yourself tomorrow.
Yeah.
And learning these skills at an earlier age, you know, because I think I don't know, we need them, because it's tough out there these days for kids and adults and older adults. It's hard.
I agree. But you know, you made an important point there, a really important point, is that when we're raising kids, they're going to do what you do, right? They're going to do what you do. It's that simple, really. And as much as they don't think they do, they can't help it. They cannot help it.
Right.
So if
Because
you're-
that's what they see.
Yes, that's what they say. And if you're living as a victim in your life, so will your children. You're giving them permission to be victims as well. And you're, in a way, brainwashing them into doing that. And you don't want to raise victims, you know, you want to raise empowered, you know, young girls and men that are going to go out in the world and live the life on their terms, not not by going to war, but by just being able to communicate, being
Yeah.
positive, you know, saying, yeah, this did happen and it was traumatic for me, but I'm not angry at the person who perpetrated, right? I recognize that there was a silver lining for me, right? Another example is a lady I was working with. She's from Ireland, and her daughter took her life through suicide. I think she was like 7 or 8. I mean,
Oh my gosh.
how do you get your head around that, right? So obviously she was traumatized. So what happened was she got to the point where she said, okay, so this happened for me, how? Right?
Yeah.
No, I couldn't tell her, right? Right? Yeah, it was because, but she finally got it and she went, well, as a result of that, because this was later on, right? So
Sure.
as a result of that, I created a foundation in my daughter's name. As a result of that foundation, we have saved over 15,000 young children from
Wow.
taking their life. So the point is, she got it and she went, my daughter sacrificed her life to save thousands of people,
Wow.
thousands of young people. And so that's become her life work, and it's given her meaning to her life and a purpose. Doesn't mean that,
Yeah.
it doesn't mean she's glad that her daughter passed away.
Right.
Right?
Right.
But taking the silver lining out of it has helped her, and obviously helped thousands and thousands of other people.
Yeah. Wow, I think that kind of wraps all of this up in a sad but also hopeful bow,
Yeah.
if you will.
Yeah.
That finding these things that happen, and how can we find the purpose in it, the silver lining? What can I do with that event
Yeah.
that I had no control over, or maybe I did, but
Maybe you just weren't ready to take control of that moment.
yeah.
You need to live with it for a few years, months, weeks, or whatever it is, to really ground what it is you needed to learn, before you got the light bulb moment and went, okay, yeah, now I do see that there was.
Now I know.
Now I know.
Now I know. Wow, this got to be a deep conversation here, didn't it?
When we had no idea where it was going to go, like we just said.
We had no idea.
Yeah.
So you wrote a book. It's called The Venus Flytrap. We're going to have all the information of that in all our show notes, descriptions, all that good stuff. You also work with people individually, am I correct, in helping them break down some of these patterns we talked about, rebuild the worth that they have that is in them, and just live a better life. So tell me just a little bit as we wrap up about that and how you can help folks get through some of this.
Sure. Well, first of all, the book is an amazing book, and I'm going to say that because I wrote it, but that's not true. But what I've done is sent you a link for your audience,
Yep.
right? That they can get. They click on the link and they can get the first 3 chapters of the book for free. All right, so that they can read a bit of it, and then they're going to be hooked, right? They're going to want to get it for yourself, right? So take it, take that opportunity to read the first 3 chapters, and then there's another link that we've sent you that they can get a complimentary. It's about 25-minute session with me, so that we can talk and see if they feel like I might be the right person to help them or not, right? So we can have that conversation.
Beautiful.
And then there's websites. I do a podcast now as well. So, which I'm going to have you come on at some point when I start having guests. I'm still building it right now, right? I'm still telling everybody about me. But anyway, so we'll get that situated if that's okay with you.
Love it.
And that's it, really. So it's been a delight. I've really, really enjoyed our conversation very much.
Me too. Like I said, I wasn't sure where we were going to go with this, and I am just, but that's just it too, right? It's kind of all the same thing, is you just open up the door and see what walks through it. And I think that is kind of almost a key to a lot of things.
I agree.
Unlocks a lot of doors.
I agree.
So,
absolutely.
all right. Well, Dr. Edwards, thank you so much for being on the show today. I so appreciate it. And folks, thanks again for joining us on another episode of Relax, I Got This, Embracing Life After 60. Take advantage of those links that we're going to provide to you. Read the first 3 chapters, because then you'll probably want to go delving just a little bit deeper. So thanks again for tuning in. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. These are important conversations that we're having, and you don't want to miss a one of them. And we'll see you next time. Thank you so much for spending part of your day with me. I know you have plenty of choices for your ears, and I'm honored you chose Relax, I Got This, Embracing Life After 60. If today's episode sparked a question, a story, or even a strong opinion, I want to hear it. Find me on Facebook, Instagram, or LinkedIn. You can even email me directly at robin@relaxigotthis.com. And yes, I actually read them and I actually reply. And if you're looking for more tools, guides, and resources to help you keep embracing life after 60, head over to relaxigotthis.com/resources. It's all there waiting for you when you need it. Until next time, take a deep breath and remember, you've got this. And if you ever feel like you don't, well, that's why I'm here. Relax. I got this.